Hello, everyone, and welcome to Education 380 or Education 500. This is a cross-listed class, so we do have undergraduate and graduate students in it. Um, Little small differences with the classes, but I'll outline that as I go through the overview of the syllabus. Excuse me. A few things before we get going. This is an asynchronous class. I still try to post videos up every week. I try to keep them, I'm going to say under a half an hour. Sometimes they'll be very, very short. Sometimes they'll be a little longer than a half an hour. This one today will probably be one of those because I'm covering the syllabus. I also try to do them in one take. I have actually failed on that a couple of times this morning. I'm recording at home, so it gets a little noise distractions. I'm pointing at the door through there. But with that being said, if I was teaching in a class and I mess up, I usually just keep pushing on. There's nothing you can do about it. So I kind of use that same philosophy with the videos because these are really just here to help. Um, and like right now, I said, and I'm just going to keep on pushing. Um, but with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the syllabus and, just to kind of give an overview. And if you have any questions, of course, you can contact me at any time. So let's go. Uh, As I mentioned, this class is Education 380, and if you're in the graduate section, it is Education 500. I'll outline again those differences at the very end for those who are in 500, but just make sure you're registered for it. Those are my office hours. I know it says Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm around campus a good bit. You are welcome to stop by and ask me a question at any time. I'm in Canudi 101C. It's the room over by the computer lab. I'm pointing like I'm in Canudi. There's a little annex in there. If you've had to do field and ask Miss Baker a question, I'm actually in the office across from her, or Miss Kepner. I'm across the hall from them. So you are welcome to swing by anytime. And don't worry about just these office hours. If you see me and it's Monday at 1 p.m. and I'm walking around, you are welcome to ask me a question. These aren't a blood oath, so to speak. They're just 100% when I'll be around. I will just give a little heads up. Once more and more people start to get out in the field, there is a chance that maybe I might have a field observation during my office hours. But if that happens, I always make sure there's a note up on my door or I send an email out. So, but by and large, I should be around during those times. Best way to get a hold of me is usually email. That is my office phone. But I wear a couple different hats at Shepherd. So sometimes I'm not in my office. I might be working in another building. So if you need to reach me, um, just email me or stop me if you see me walking around. I try to get back in my email within a 24-hour period. Usually it's much quicker than that. I do check on the weekends, definitely not as much as I do during the week. But if you email me on the weekends, I will try to get back with you. It might just be a little longer. It might be instead of, an hour or two later, it might be 8 to 12 hours later, depending on what I'm doing. So with that being said, that's kind of the nuts and bolts and overview there. A few other things. I'm not going to read this thing word for word. We have, as I said, I try to keep these short. This is posted if you need it. But one thing, just please make sure that the work that you complete is your own work. And also just kind of an overview of the class. I'm going to you can read the overview. I'm going to kind of tell you my philosophy. This class, my dream for this class is actually, I just want to give you tools and technology that you might be able to use when you're out teaching, whether you're teaching kindergarten, whether you're teaching middle school, whether you're teaching high school. Are you going to use everything that's presented in this class in your teaching career? Most definitely not. Will you use some of it? I hope so. So that's kind of the thing. And you'll see as we go through, I have kind of a rotation for each week. Because we are an asynchronous class, we don't have a meeting time. Again, we don't have a meeting time. But I open the modules for a week and you have a week basically to get everything done. And when you do that, there's a rotation. Usually it's tech creation, blog on that tech creation, discussion, tech, blog, discussion, tech, blog, discussion. And we'll go over that when we go over the weekly outline. But that's the idea of the course is I think it's ed tech is the easiest way to think about it. Excuse me, I was outside today. I'm kind of allergy ridden. A few other things. We do have a class textbook. I'm going to pull it up real quick. I tried to pick an inexpensive one, and of course, as you can see, I'm kind of operating on my home computer. It's a little quirky. It's Tech Like a Pirate. It's not a deep read. It's not meant to be a deep read. It's another thing. I am all about tools and adding to your repertoire and rotation in the classroom. And I think this book has a few things that you can utilize in your classroom and a few approaches. It's a pretty easy read, but the discussion boards are going to be based around that. I don't care where you get the book. I do know I have it on Amazon. They have it at the bookstore. I will always say if you can get it at the bookstore and that works, get it at the bookstore. But you can find it anywhere. It's a pretty common book. I think it's a real world book. So please make sure you have that. Our discussions are based on that. If you're interested in all of our Shepherd objectives and alignment, you got it. Go for it. A few other things. This is because it's an asynchronous course. You do need to have internet and you need to have access to the internet. And you still need to have some forms of technology and capabilities. If you are struggling, like if you have something where maybe your internet, I'm not picking on this company. I don't know if anyone works for it or anything. Sometimes I've had students say they have Frontier and they've had trouble getting on the internet. We do have a media lab here at Shepherd. It's right in Canuti first floor, and you are welcome to use that anytime that you want. So, and as it kind of outlines there, cancellation policy we don't really have to worry about because we don't meet. So there's no meetings live or online. Sign up for Rave if you haven't already. That's our alert system here on campus. It'll tell you if the school's closed or anything like that. But again, since we're meeting online, I don't think it's a big deal. I've already kind of said this, but let me kind of talk about what we're going to be doing in the class. One, each week, most weeks are going to be pretty much the same. I'm very much a routine person with my online classes. At least I try to be. You are going to create a text. So one week you may create something, I don't know. It could be, we'll do Flipgrid. You're doing a Flipgrid one week. Then you're going to blog on whether you liked Flipgrid, whether you didn't like Flipgrid, pros, cons. Then you're going to do a discussion board on a Tech Like a Pirate chapter. That's most weeks. And that's what you're going to do. I have a rubric and I grade you. The tech doesn't have to be perfect. I really just want you to try the tech and get comfortable with the tech. Most of the time, also because of our time and limitations, I don't usually have you do a huge tech project with each one. I'm actually trying to get you to I'm trying to introduce you to many types of tech as opposed to let's say taking a Nearpod, which is probably my favorite tech, and making like a super project. It's more like, okay, here's Nearpod. I want you to do this within 10 slides. Or here's Google Classroom. You have to do this many things on Google Classroom. So I can kind of see that you have some familiarity with it. You do have to do also a lesson plan brainstorming. I know some people are in this class pre-juncture. We've kind of changed some of the standards at this point. It's the lesson plan activity is more of a brainstorming type thing where you're going to talk about what assessments you're going to use, how you're going to integrate the technology in the lesson plans, how it aligns to different state standards and what your objectives are. I'll talk about the lesson plan as we get a little farther down in the semester. It's not due until towards the end. So I know different people have different experiences lesson planning at this point in both graduate and undergraduate. So don't worry about it too much at the moment. I'll probably talk about it in a couple of weeks once we kind of get settled in the semester in one of these videos. And I'll make sure I make a little heads up in the notifications. I send a blast out usually as soon as I open everything up. Discussion boards. Again, they'll be on Brightspace. When I open to show you the Brightspace spot here in a few minutes, we can, they're right there. They'll be there each week. Classroom resources, that's the different tech, so to speak. You just go in and you do the tech and you send me the link and submit it on Brightspace. Sorry, I was thinking at the same time. I will say this, once in a while, people they have issues submitting on Brightspace. I think most of the issues have been kind of worked out because we've been Brightspace, I guess, friendly or using Brightspace for about the last 2 years now. When we first started, a lot of people had to put things on Word documents and submit the links and things like that. But if you really run into a major headache submitting something, you can email it to me. I don't poo-poo that. I will say this, I would prefer it on Brightspace if you can do it. But if you really, really, really are struggling getting something submitted on Brightspace, just email it to me. You're not going to hear anything. I'll email back. Just make sure you get back, got it. And I usually throw it in a folder and I can post it up on my own. Blogs and reflections. Oh, I should make the point. Discussion boards should at least be 150 words. I don't think that's a whole lot to ask, but they do need to be around that. I'm looking more for quality more than quantity, but I think at 150, if it's quality, it's probably going to be 150 words. Um, I do read them, so just to give you the heads up. So if it's at 149 and it's really good, I'll probably give you the full 10 points. If it looks like it's 150 and you were kind of like just doing a couple sentences to get to 150, I'll recognize that, and you might not get the full 10 points. So just the heads up there. Blogging and reflections. When you do a text, so for example, if you do Flipgrid, I just asked you to kind of just say, I really enjoyed Flipgrid. I would use it in my classroom. I like the way that it used the videos. That's all I'm looking for. I usually tell everyone 2 to 3 sentences on the blog. You don't have to write a full like Rotten Tomatoes like film review. It's just 2 to 3 sentences, whether you would like it, thumbs up, thumbs down, it's fresh, it's not fresh, whatever. Certified fresh is not what they say on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care whether you like it or not. If you don't like a technology, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't have any stock in any of these things. And some tech is, there's tech that we're using that I like better than other techs. I'll be the first to say that. So, just be honest. I have a feeling I think I still have the website on there. The website is usually the most controversial one. We're not doing that this week. We're doing that next week. That's usually the one that, I don't want to say controversial. It's usually the one people either really like but it kind of gives me an idea of how comfortable people are with technology and moving things around and what I have to do in the class a little bit. So that's not to scare you or anything. It's a different type of tech than the rest of the ones that we're using. I've thought about getting rid of it so much because of Google Classroom, but I think it's good to kind of know how to make at least a base level website. So I kept it in there. One other thing, and basically it's our final, and you are welcome to complete this at any time. You do have to do one of the 2 technology certifications. I almost took the Google one off, and I'll explain that here in a second, but I did leave it on because I still have people that really want to do it. But you have to do Apple Education Certification, at least the first level of it. I will have the link up on Brightspace. I'll show it to you here either this week or next week, depending how long this video gets. It's free. The Apple one is free. Basically, you just go through I'm on an iMac right now, and you can do that, or I'm sorry, on a MacBook. You can do it either on a MacBook, or you can do it on an iMac, or you can do it on an iPad, or you can just do it on your regular computer. It doesn't matter. You pick one, either iPad or Mac, and you get certified. You complete certain things that you know how to work with it. It just works on your being a little intuitive how to work on things like online, like use GarageBand, do some editing, things like that. I think it's good. It's free, and you get a little printed out certificate or certification that you can put on your resume. That's the one I would do. That's actually our final. Some people, once the semester gets going, just go in and just get it done so that that week in December, they don't have to worry about submitting it. But it's not due until December. I have left Google Level 1 as an alternative if you would rather do that than Apple. During the pandemic, so many schools were doing Google Classroom that some people were like, man, I really want to do Google Level 1. Couple of things with Google Level 1. One, it does cost money. It costs $10. 2, it is an honest to goodness test. So you have to schedule the test. You have to take the test. I do not require you pass the test. I'm more about the effort that you're putting into it and just knowing what you're going to do. But I need certification that you took the test. So and some people have waited until the last moment, and then Google, if they're overloaded, can't get you scheduled before the exam date. So if you're thinking about doing Google Level 1, I'll send out reminders, but you really should do it before a couple weeks before the final. Like I say, I've come this close before just taking it off, but I don't want to not give people the opportunity to do it. I would strongly suggest that the Apple certification is what I would use. Even if your school isn't Apple, I just think the skills that you're using will just get you familiar with, I just think it's more what this class is about, if that makes sense. So that, again, is something I'll talk about later down the road. So the lesson plan and the certification, you'll definitely hear from me again on. The other 3, the discussion, the tech and the blogs. That's our weekly. That's the heart of the class, those three. And there's some of the stuff. I've actually changed it up a little bit this semester. I experimented with some stuff during our summer section. And there's a few things in here that are still pretty much the same. A lot of this may look very familiar. When I started teaching this class, it was pre-pandemic, and all this stuff, people were like, whoa, what is this? Now half the stuff most people are familiar with or have used as students at this point. But I still think it's important to kind of go over it, definitely from if you've used it as a student from a teacher's point of view, and some of the pros and cons with it. One thing I have added, I took out one thing. I want to do something with AI. It's not super in depth, but I think we need to acknowledge AI and how it's changing things in education in this class. So there is an AI exercise. It's a little down the road, but the more and more I'm fooling with AI, it is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It's also pretty scary. So I do want to do something with that, but we'll talk about that when I do my weekly videos on this. So as you can see, there's 500 points. If you are in the graduate section of this class, these numbers are slightly different because you have one different assignment. You have a research project or a research paper that you have to do. I'm going to talk about that at the very end of the video. So if the undergrads want to not listen, that's fine. They can go ahead and sign off. I'm just going to give a very brief overview, but basically the points though are the exact same. You would just see the breakdown, how it broke down. It breaks down slightly different in terms of how much each thing's worth. But we'll get into that a little later. As you can see, there's the due dates. There's our outline. And just to kind of give you an idea of what we're going to be doing each week, like Monday, this will be open. Hope you may be watching this on Monday. I don't know. But if you are, you'll see you have from the 21st to the 27th to get everything done. And this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to show you Google Arts and Culture here in a few minutes. But you're going to do something with Google Arts and Culture. You're going to do discussion 1, and you're going to do blog 1. This is really just an intro exercise because we're online. I think it's kind of important. But and then I'll just have module 1 open. Module 1 will close at 11:59 on the 27th, which is a Sunday. And sorry, I almost sneezed there. It'll close at 11:59 on the 27th on a Sunday. And then on Monday morning, I think it should be 12:01. Module 2 will open. So, and then we'll get into the websites and things like that. I will say I really do try just for my own organization. If I open a module early, sometimes I do on the weekends. I really try to get them open a little bit early on Sunday. Usually I'll send out the email. I send out a weekly blast of everything that's going to be due, reminder of what's due, and what's due for the following week. So I'll try to get them open on Sunday. Just don't hold that to me. They'll definitely be open, of course, though, by Monday morning for you to get an idea of so you can start working. Because I know with an asynchronous class, a lot of people pick a day or two that they just focus on this class or do the work for this class. So that's kind of our outline. Some of the tech that is listed here, some people have, I saw this, someone had made a comment one time before. Just so you know, some of the tech that is listed is not tech that you're going to, we won't do an activity with. I just want you to kind of be familiar with it. Like Planbook, that's one that, I think is pretty cool. But there's things, people use Schoology now and things like that kind of do the same thing. I just like Planbook because it was my own thing. It wasn't a county thing. And I'm glad actually I mentioned this. All of these things, pretty much all of these techs, I'm not asking you to buy any upgrades for any of this tech. Like, for example, I mentioned I like Nearpod. I use it a lot. I use it a lot in my college classes. But there is a free Nearpod account, which is all I want you to do. And there are upgrades, so you could pay for them. Anything in this class does not require an upgrade. So please, you don't have to upgrade anything unless you specifically want to. There's a couple of these techs I have paid a little more for just because I like some of the bells and whistles. But for this class, everything that you're doing, you do not need to do the upgrade. You'll probably hear me say that a million times because people still say, hey, do I have to do the upgrade? There is something with Kahoot. You may have seen it if you ever used it, but it comes on and there's a screen about all these different Kahoot programs. But if you look at the very bottom, you can click and just skip the screen, but they do hide it a little bit. but I digress. We'll get into all that. But most of this tech is what we're going to be covering in a week, but I'll specifically say and tell you what the assignment is I want. So for example, this week, it's specifically going to be Nearpod or Pear Deck that you'll be able to use. But that's a couple weeks from now. This is our week this week. So we're doing course order introduction, which we're doing now. We're going to do Google Arts and Culture here in a few minutes. And then we're going to do discussion 1 and discussion on blog 1. Well, we're not going to do it. I'm just going to tell you how to do it. So with that said, let's see. All right. Last day to withdraw from this class is the 20th of October. Just to kind of throw that out there. But the syllabus is posted. And just to kind of make note, I'm sure everyone has read, I don't know, maybe you've seen the emails or not. The college that we were in, if you are an education major, obviously you are, we're now in the College of Business, Recreation, and Education. We are not with nursing, recreation, and education, I think is how it was before. So doesn't really affect anything for this class, but just to let you know, if you notice that was kind of changed from some of your other syllabi. All right, I think that's the nuts and bolts of the class. One thing I do want you to do, I'm going to move my face over here. One strong suggestion I would tell you to do, you probably already have this, but if you do not, go ahead and get a Google account because it will make your life a lot easier for this class. Again, they're free. And when you go to sign up for a lot of the text, like when you do Nearpod, you can just sign in with a Google account. When you do Pear Deck, Google account. When you do Wakelet, Google account. When you do Pear Deck, Google account. So Pear Deck, I said Pear Deck, Padlet. When you do Padlet, you can do a Google account. I think you can do it with Kahoot. Long story short, create a Google account. Not a requirement. It is going to be one because you have to make a Google Classroom. But if you want to go ahead and get ahead of the game a little bit, you can do it. This week, the tech is actually pretty simple. I will show you. If you go to the little waffle on here on Google, once you're signed in, you'll see this little icon, Arts and Culture. I wanted to just give you a little shout out here. This site has a lot of cool stuff, and not just for art. I was a social studies teacher. I didn't really give my bio, so if you want it real quick, I've taught middle school for roughly about 15 years. I've been in education for about 20 combined. I did a little jumping around. I've done community college, a little bit of high school and things like that. I graduated from Shepherd College back in the 90s with a history degree, English minor. I went to WVU, got my master's in secondary education social studies and my doctorate in curriculum instruction in social studies. With that being said, let me jump back. When I taught social studies, this is a site I would use a lot of times because there are different things we could do, museum trips and things like that. I'm not going to go over, site by site, tech by, or activity by activity, or cool thing by cool thing. But if you just fish around, if you're definitely, and there's a lot of times they'll have things with science and STEAM and things like that. There's games. Just wanted to kind of let you know there's, you can look at different types of color. They do some things with mathematics. Sometimes they'll post up. So it's just a site to be aware of. But really what I want you to do, and I didn't sign into my Brightspace, I don't think. I did not. So I'll tell you what, Beaker, my son was on this computer. I'm gonna hit Shepherd. And I'm gonna go ahead and get a Brightspace. I have to admit, I don't know if I loaded mine up. I'm just sitting here thinking, but I can still show you what I want you to do. For this week, we don't meet face to face, but I think it's nice to kind of put a face to a name a little bit, or at least a little bit of background on everyone. Let me go in here slowly. Maybe we'll get in there. There we go. Brightspace having a little trouble getting the semester started there. Let me see if I have it on here. I know I have it up on the 15th. I may have not posted my recent one on there. Let me. Awkward silence. Forgive me. I think I posted it up though. Let's see. know what? I'll just do it this way. Oh, no, hold on. Give me 1 sec. I'm not giving up yet. There it is. That's the one I wanted. Sorry. Click 2022 and not 23. I think it should be there. There it is. I don't want anyone else. I don't want to embarrass anyone that's not in the class. But what this is a pretty cool tech. And I thought it was just something that maybe we could get used to, knowing who everyone is. Sorry, I'm babbling a little bit. You need one of these. I think I got it on the camera. It's a phone. You go to your apps. If you type in Google Arts and Culture, this is we usually will be a little more hardcore and I can smear it, but I can only do this with an app. Let me see where mine is. I think I just saw it. Oh, sorry, old man eyes. Well, I know it's on here. Well, we were flowing pretty good there for a moment. Well, Jamboard. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll do this the old-fashioned way. We'll do a search. Type in Google Arts and Culture. It's the Google Arts and Culture app. I don't know if you can see. I've got that on there. You can see it. You're going to click it, the search. Oh, sorry, the icon changed. That's why I couldn't find it. But right at the top, you'll see it right there. You do need to download this. You can take it off your phone afterwards if you don't want this. And when you get there, I already had the app. I thought I did. I'm going to hold that up so you can see. You'll have the app. There's a little camera right down there at the, you can click that. And as you look, it's going to have some cool stuff. I would recommend checking it out, everything on there. But you see those little things down there at the bottom? You can scroll through them. Let me move my phone there. You can scroll right through them. And there's one on there called Art Selfie. I'm going to find it. It's the one that you can do pet filters. You can do art filters. Let me find my Art Selfie. Art transfer. Art Selfie. There's one there. I don't know if you can see very well, but I'm going to show you the icon. It's the one beside the Eiffel Tower. And it'll say Art Selfie. And what you do, it'll say take an art selfie. So I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to take my selfie here. It's going to line my face up. And I'm going to get a scary image. And it's going to line me up with different people. And you can fish through there. And they'll match your face and everything up. What I want you to do is take an art selfie. I want you to, I don't care how you do it. You can either download it and attach it as something on the discussion, but I want everyone to do the discussion post and give us a little bit of a background. This is the one discussion post I probably won't get on you for word count or anything like that. I just want you to basically tell us who you are, some things. Let's just go to the discussion board and I'll tell you. Check it out and just give us a little bit of background on yourself, like maybe what your interests are, what you did this summer, what area of education you're interested in. It could be, if you're elementary, if you're social studies, if you're science, if you're PE, anything like that. Take the art selfie. If you don't like your art selfie, you can keep taking them. You can pick whatever one you like the best. I would like you to either screenshot it and attach it or embed it in the discussion board. You can just email it to yourself and load it as a file if you need to. That sometimes is the easiest thing to do. But I want everyone to post one up and just kind of give us a little bit of background on that. Then I want you to go to the blog site. You go to discussions and they'll see discussion 1, arts. You post up your art selfie and your background. Then you go to discussions. I'll have this link up under no one. You'll see blog 1. And you tell us whether you thought arts and culture was any good or not. You could say, I didn't think my image looked anything like me. I think this is a terrible thing. I will never use it again. That's fine. You can say, I love this. I will use it with my class weekly. It is fantastic. Art selfie all the way. All are fine. So, with that being said, that's what you have to do this week. And our space is actually, I'm in the 500 space for the summer, but this will all be up. And when you go in, let me just go ahead and show you. Why don't I do that smart thing? If you go to this, our class, most of our stuff is always going to be under course content. Actually, let me rephrase that. Everything should really be under course content. And you'll see our weeks are here. You click here, and you'll see this overview. Welcome to EDUC380. I'm going to add a little dash 500. Don't worry. Check out Google Arts and Culture. Again, download the app. Find the little camera in the bottom. Slide those things there. The one beside the Eiffel Tower, it'll say art selfie. It'll have like a little face. It's like a art nouveau type looking thing. Click it, take your selfie, put it on discussion, give us a little background on yourself, and go from there. That's basically what you have to do and blog it. And as you can see, when we go over our weeks, I'll have everything here, and everything each week is here. I like this layout. I know some people are starting to do different ones, and I may update it down the road, but right now I just kind of like the flow. It's just, I think everything is in one spot. It's not too bad. Check all that out. The website for arts and culture is on the link or on the Brightspace page if you want to check it out. And again, there's the App Store and the directions. There's a discussion. So you'll see all this, and everything you need is right here. So the links, I keep saying go to discussion. You can literally just click right here and add your thing. So as you can see, it's already there. So I just wanted to show an example. That being said, that's the class. This week, you have to do art selfie, discussion, blog, art selfie, discussion, blog. If you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime. If you are in Education 500, if you could hang on for just a second, I'm going to take about a minute to explain what you have to do that's slightly different from 380. And other than that, you'll get these videos for better or worse each week. And I hope everyone has a great week. Welcome to the class. And again, contact me with any questions. With that being said, if you are in Education 500, the class is basically the same, except for one small thing. Like I said, the research paper. I will have those guidelines posted up at the bottom of the page. But really what I'm looking for, you have to do an APA research paper on an issue in technology. And I am not too picky. When I say issue, I just mean a technology topic. So you can do an issue in technology and education. A lot of people have done some papers recently on the pandemic, whether it was good or bad in terms of being very tech heavy. You can do something specifically on a tech. A lot of people have done some stuff on virtual reality. The guidelines will be posted. It's usually around 8 pages, double spaced, APA. It is not due though until almost Thanksgiving break. So that'll be something I'll go over the guidelines a little bit. I feel like this video is a little long. As we get a little more into the semester, I'll make sure that I have the guidelines. They'll be posted and they are in a syllabus, but I'll make sure to have some topics, and I'll touch base again in one of these videos. But that's the big difference. There's no field hours or anything for this class. It's the research project. So with that being said, if you're in Education 500, hope you have a great week, and catch everyone later.